Well, hello, and welcome back to TwoSun Tuesday. And today I have a rather fancy one. I have talked about this one in the past, but I think it was mostly just during an unboxing and first impression sort of thing. This is a fantastic but small knife here. This is the TS308. Its name is the Suiryuu, Suiryuu. That basically means water dragon. And this is kind of an interesting thing here. It's going to have Mazwan Mokhtar's, I don't know what you would call that, maker's mark or, logo, insignia, whatever the hell. But you also have another one here, and that's because Mazwan Mokhtar basically helped out with the full logistics and getting this thing actually made. But the original design was made by a young guy. Shoot, I honestly don't remember his name. He's the son of Dani Mokhtar, which, funny enough, not related, but they're obviously acquaintances of some way, shape, or form. But yeah, this was designed by quite a young person, but they've done a really fantastic job with everything going on here. This is a fully frag pattern design. That's the only variant of this, which is interesting because TwoSun has done a couple of other frag pattern knives, but they've been basically a variant, not just an exclusivity sort of a thing with it. But yeah, first and foremost, I do want to compare it to another knife here, and obviously we're going to have a lot of differences, but ergonomically, this thing is very similar to the QSP Parrot, which is a really favorite kind of smaller knife that I end up having here. And the reason why is because you can get a full four-finger grip because this juts out at the back here rather than trying to curve it to make it look a little bit more. This has basically that same kind of look to it and fits in your hand just the same. Super, super nice. This has an M390 blade on it compared to, most of these that have, almost all of these that use D2 for the Parrot. It hasn't gotten quite the amount of love that the QSP Penguin has in the 30 plus different variants that they've had of that. But that's basically what I wanted to kind of bring up and talk about there. This thing has a fairly thick blade stock thickness on them at 4 millimeters, which it could probably be a little thinner, but all that being aside, it still does come down quite nice. And at least from about the halfway point over, the blade is a full flat grind, so it ends up being quite a bit easier to slice the further out towards the tip you get. And you can really get some nice power behind what we got over here, especially if you're doing some like woodworking and whittling and all that sort of stuff. The frag patterning on this does have quite a bit of grip, but it's not something that's crazy jagged. You know, TwoSun does a pretty darn good job with their milling and knocking down edges and stuff like that. So nice and comfortable in the hand. This is also a titanium frame lock. We got the pocket clip here, and we can definitely see Mazwan's kind of design sort of stuff going on there with this kind of ball thing going on that he ends up doing in a lot of his pocket clips. They're not my favorite because they really, really hold on, especially, these ball ones that have just that singular point rather than something that has a little bit more of a flat area for you to ramp up into your pants or wherever else you're clipping that guy into. This one doesn't really have much in the way of lock bar access and doesn't really have the scallops there either. But, I have absolutely no problems closing this guy up whatsoever. Might be a little bit more of a struggle in gloves, but this guy seems to be a little bit small for you trying to use some large, clumsy gloves along with it. I suppose that's your prerogative there. This does come with a little sharpening choil kind of put in there. As you can see, I've already put a smile on there because we do have a gradual plunge grind out there, so that will probably happen to you as well. Depends a little bit more on exactly how you did that. If you were on a stone and using an extreme angle or something like that, probably be a little less likely to have that happen, but that seems like it's going to be a giant pain in the butt. But yeah, as long as you don't have too much of a difficulty getting this in and out of the pocket, this is a nice blade that's really capable, fairly small for some of those summer days where you don't really need something super big, and your pants and lack thereof of suspension type materials like a belt or suspenders or whatever else might prevent you from carrying, I don't know, like a gigantic knife on you. Then this one works out super, super well. We just have the flipper tab here. That's about the only deployment method you got on there because it's nice and compact in there. Full length back spacer there. It's got the little lanyard loop there on the back. Generally, well, since it's already on the downward slope, it's probably not that big of a deal. I generally don't use lanyard holes at all. So I guess for me, it might have been just a little bit more preferable to have this filled in and have the little lanyard piece be kind of milled into that back piece. But oh well, it's not the end of the world, and still don't really think that it looks all that unattractive because of that. We can see on the inside here that we do have a track. Let me go ahead and find a flashlight for me. Where the heck is this darn thing? I just used it a few minutes ago. It's gone. Well, let's see. Hold on one moment. All right, I'm back. Don't know exactly what happened to the flashlight that I was using, but hey, got another one. This one's a rather big one, but hey, it'll do. I just need the lumens for it. So yeah, we can see it has a channel for the blade to sit in on the back side of that back spacer there, and you can see just a little bit of weight relieving on the inside there too. So yeah, this isn't just flat slab titanium. This is milled on both sides, and a decent little chunk of M390 steel here. This one, it really took me a heck of a long time to actually reprofile this down to 15 degrees. So I haven't done a full cut test with it, but this thing is really holding up. Probably for the best. This is a fairly newer release. Right before they started putting the numbers on the blade there, which is why I have the label over here, of course. But yeah, they've really stepped up their game for most of their higher end powder metallurgy steels. I've now tested some of their more recent M390 and S90V, and both of those super good. Among the best knives that I've actually had for doing rope cutting. And what I mean by that is I do think that cutting a lot of this twisted sisal rope here, especially when you have a knife profiled down to 15 degrees behind the edge there, gets it a little bit thinner there. So what I'm talking about with that is that I don't necessarily think that TwoSun really makes them ridiculously hard. Not 62 or 63 Rockwell hardness, which M390 could do if you really knew exactly what you were doing on a custom level. You can do that. But yeah, they do say that they aim for about 58 to 60, even on most of these guys. What I've seen that translate to in the rope cutting is that these guys can, get off true a little bit or bend, but they still end up cutting like a beast. Whereas some of the really, really harder stuff, like, oh, I should have had it right here. My desk is all sorts of in disarray right now. Aha! Found it. Unlike something like the Spyderco, this is the Shaman, but the reason I pull it out is that it's in S90V. Wow, that's much harder to see on... There we go. Yeah. So this S90V, they tend to do that to a much harder degree, and especially with those ones like S90V and S110V. If you get them really, really hard, they have a tendency to chip the blade a little bit. Whereas the little bit softer steel in there, and I'm not saying soft, but softer, tends to allow the steel to gracefully come out of true, a little bit more like a kitchen knife would. So they stay sharp and slicey a bit longer because they're not flattening that blade out. They're just kind of bringing it off true. Just makes it a little bit easier to bring them back to true with a strop or anything else. So yeah, these things work out super, super well. We got very, very neutral ergonomics going on here. Just a little bit of an area here for your finger. And hey, this is actually quite a large area for a index finger to be in there. So it works with even those of us with the larger mitts there. You can do a reverse grip on this guy. It's going to be a little bit small for you to kind of curve that around there. So I might not want to do any reverse hammer grip piercing with it necessarily. It's probably not this knife's strong aspect to it. But, yep, standard hammer grip works super nice. The pinch grip I find really, really comfortable as well, which I end up doing, especially if I'm cutting a package or something like that. I can easily and very securely even cut towards myself without having to worry about something getting way crazy and cutting into, me. I don't really want that to happen. And also works really well if you are going to be doing any kind of reverse grip or a pairing grip sort of thing for, I don't know, cutting up through some cardboard or rope or any of that sort of stuff, like a chest lever grip. Works super, super well for that, especially when you have, just a little bit of extra chunk in the back there. Really makes for a really, really nice, satisfying cut when you're doing a chest lever there. Even on something like wood that you've already feather sticked or something like that. Not that, a standard V-grind really makes that super easy, but hey, it's doable and that helps out just a little bit. So, all right. I wouldn't have minded having internal lock bar relief since I've already done some milling on both of the sides of this. But that's about the only thing that I could probably find to really complain about so much. The other thing is, it's probably not necessary to have a full 4mm blade stock thickness on a knife that's, right around 3 inches? What do we got? Right under. It's 2.99 inches from the top of that out to the tip there. So it's pretty legal in most jurisdictions, at least as long as you can actually carry a locking blade. That cuts out Germany and I don't know, probably some really, really overly crazy strict places like New York City and stuff like that. But for most of the rest of us, this meets that criteria for being able to carry it just about anywhere. Let's see, we got 0.48 millimeters, so a little bit thinner than Spyderco Military 2. And just barely misses that ounce and inch mark. We got 3.03 ounces, or 86 grams, rather than 2.99 instead for that. But we're talking basically only a couple of grams off from being that ounce and inch mark. So if that's something you're looking for, I would say nears makes no difference. That definitely falls into that category. So how about if we go ahead and do some size comparisons? Let's start with a bench of Made today. There's the bug out, and yeah, there's the 940. It's probably a little bit closer in size to the what is it, the 943 or 945, the mini version of it. But hey, what are you gonna do? I got big hands. I'm not usually interested in a mini version of knives. So, all right, there's that. Let's see. How about if we go with Spyderco PM2? And this one seems probably fairly appropriate here. We got the K-bar folding hunter. That's right around in that same wheelhouse of what's the words I'm looking for? Proportions. That's the word I'm looking for. I'll get to it eventually. And yeah, I don't know. I've since I have them out here, I can kind of pull that out. That's the Parrot, a little tiny bit larger, and the QSP Penguin as well. That's a very, very popular knife. There we go. But yeah, that concludes my standard review of it. So if that's what you kind of came to see, well, there we are. I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this so we can take a look on the inside or under the covers, whatever you want to end up referring to it as. So let's go ahead and do that. We got T8 hardware all the way around. I always love to see that. And the pocket clips mounted on the inside here. So we just have those two in the back. We have pins a little bit further up here holding that back spacer around. I will go ahead and drop them down onto my squishy mat. I probably wouldn't do that on a hard surface, but there we are. And yeah, we can pull that out. And yeah, as I was saying, we have the milling on there. So in that particular case, I wouldn't have minded them actually doing the lock bar relief on the inside. But yeah, it is what it is. We have an internal blade stop pin here, and it's not exposed. It comes out quite far, but not exposed. So that really does help a lot with keeping ingress of lint and other dirt and stuff like that from coming into it. We got their standard ceramic bearings in there, and yeah, just a little bit more milling going on there. Not anything super crazy out of the ordinary, but you know, everything being put together, it is rather nice and extraordinary. And yes, we do have T8 for the pocket clip screw. So, all right, not a whole lot else to really go over there. So let's go ahead and slap that guy back. Put the back spacer in place because that's probably important. This is one that's a little older, so we have to make sure that the D-shaped pivot is actually facing towards the back there. Otherwise, I'm going to have a hard time trying to actually get this darn thing to close back up. But yeah, we have done it. Hooray for me. Rip out. I've apparently been watching a little bit too much British shows, mostly Top Gear and the Grand Tour and stuff like that. But hey, it happens. All right, so super nice and easy to be able to pull this guy apart, do any maintenance that you got to do on him, get him back in there. The centering is probably just it's just a little tiny bit off, and that's of course my fault for not quite tuning this up properly after I put it back together. I end up dealing with that afterwards. Mostly has to do with loosening up these screws, getting the pivot at the correct tension, and then retensioning these down. And you know, unless you have like a really weird wonky knife, that pretty much solves all those issues. But still, it's nowhere near out of that channel in there. So even if it was super close to it, which it isn't in this particular knife, then you know, you're all good. Alrighty. Well, with all of that being said, I suppose I'll get out of here and let you folks get on with the rest of your day and or other YouTube viewing experiences or whatever else you might have going on. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Subscribe.